Hi everybody, welcome to a new edition of Let's Talk About Education with Antonio Corrales. We have talked in this show before about what does it mean to manage an educational program and the potential impact that it may have on students. But we never talk about what does it mean to manage a nursing program. And we have the honor to have with us today Dr. Karen Alexander.
Hello.
Who is in charge of the nurse program at the University of Houston Clear Lake. We are in a Pearland location. And she's going to explain us in simple terms what does it mean to be running such a program and the potential impact that it may have on students.
Right.
Yeah, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Why don't we start by letting you introduce yourself to the audience and kind of letting them know, how did you get to where you are in your career?
Okay. Well, I am Karen Alexander, as you said, and just a little bit about me. I have wanted to be a nurse since I was 6 years old. It's never been anything else that I ever wanted to be, and I come from a family of nurses, long line of nurses. And so in any case, I've been a nurse for over 35 years, and I've worked in many facets of nursing. I've worked as a perioperative nurse. I've worked in medical surgical nursing. I've worked as a perioperative, which is the operating room, perioperative educator. I have worked as nursing administration, and I had the pleasure of being both a non-commissioned and commissioned officer in the United States Air Force as a nurse, and of which I've retired. So this nursing thing, it goes on for life. You never stop. So I retired from that and then came on board here to become the program director. And so I started as a 2-year nurse. And I want to say that because I'm very, very proud of that. There are different paths that you could go in nursing. I started mine as a 2-year nursing program, and I would say lifelong learning, but I ended my degree with a PhD in nursing education.
Wow, that is fantastic. And that's a really good point that you brought up before we move forward, because we may have a lot of students or teachers out there or administrators who are looking at us right now. Explain a little bit to the audience the difference between a 2-year nurse or a 4-year nurse, because there's a lot of misperception. A lot of people don't know, and maybe we have high school students who are looking at us right now and are interested in becoming a nurse, and tell us a little bit about that journey.
Absolutely. So there are different pathways to nursing, and so the initial pathway that was started many years ago was the diploma program in the hospitals.
Okay.
And so they're 3-year programs, and some of them are still around. Texas still has one, and it does very well. However,
so basically graduating from high school with already the capacity to work as a nurse assistant or something like that?
Well, one really has nothing to do with the other.
Okay.
So you would graduate from high school, and then you would go live at a hospital, literally live at a hospital, right? And so for 3 years, you basically were trained in nursing, but really for that hospital. So that was years back.
That's
and I have 2 aunts that started out that way. One became a nurse at Bellevue, and the other one at Harlem Hospital, and that they had school of nursing programs that you live there. Wow. And incidentally, that's how chemistry and nutrition came about. That's why nurses were required to take that, because they cleaned and they cooked. So they needed to know the chemistry behind the cleaning and the nutrition behind the cooking.
Holy cow, that's
right, so that's really how that came about. But in any case, moving forward, so you had diploma programs, and then after that, they decided that nurses really needed a little more academic background.
Okay.
So they moved it into the community college, and the 2-year nursing program was the first college community program.
Wow. Before
the 4-year. So they started the 2-year program, but however, that is considered like a technical nurse.
So explain a little bit in terms of the practicality of the job. What can a 2-year nurse do in a hospital once they get that 2-year certification?
They can. And so what happens is, if a nurse goes in the 2-year path and another nurse decides the 4-year path, there is no difference in the exam they take. Okay. There is only one RN NCLEX.
Okay.
Because it is based on the first 2 years of nursing, which is clinical bedside nursing. Okay. The difference is, when you take the 2-year route, after 2 years you take your NCLEX, you're out in the hospital working.
Exactly.
For the 4-year, You take the NCLEX at the end of the 4 years. However, it was still based on those first 2 years.
Exactly.
So one, you have the professional nurse who is the 4-year graduate who has all the other background of community health, of research, trends and issues, the philosophy of nursing. So it has more academic background.
You're in a better position in your career with the 4 years to move forward and get and move forward your career and get other responsibilities.
Yes, because what happened is the 2-year nursing programs were never designed for a nurse to just have a 2-year degree and be that 2-year degree nurse forever.
Okay.
It was a path, a quicker path to get into nursing and become an RN with the expectation that you would go back and get a bachelor's. And so because we did not have many accelerated paths at that time, hence the type of program that we have now came about, which is an RN to BSN program, which is a completion program. And that is a fast track to get the nurses to do their bachelor's. And just a little point about that is when we talk about the whole premise of the bachelor's, it brings us to the Robert Wood Johnson and Institute of Medicine. They talked about how can we put an initiative forward to make nurses understand they need to go back and get their bachelor's. So they started what we now call the 80-20. And so we hope that 80% of 2-year or diploma nurses would have a bachelor's degree by 2020. So that's how these programs came out.
Interesting. Now, for our viewers who may be looking at you and say, you know, one day I wanna be able to run such a program and kind of look at you as a role model. What does it mean to, in practical terms, how does your day-by-day job look like in terms of running, you know, the nursing program at a university level?
Okay. Well, I have also been a program director at a community college too, and many of the duties are the same.
Okay.
It depends on what type of program it is. So in nursing programs in general, as the program director, I am responsible for all of the day-to-day functions of a nursing program. And so that means not only the students, the faculty, making sure that the university itself understands not only the needs of nursing, but the individual differences that nurses bring and nursing programs bring. We are governed not only by the university policies, but we are governed by many external policies, which makes nursing kind of a white elephant out there, if you will, because our external agencies demand a high caliber of delivery of education. So even as far as what the university would consider a passing grade for a student, in a nursing course, ours is higher.
Exactly.
I am responsible for making sure that we not only deliver the curriculum, but that we track the curriculum, that we make sure that we are meeting the needs and demands of the healthcare, what they're asking for nurses, that we're preparing nurses to be safe care providers, that we are making sure that when we send our nurses out there, we are basically putting a stamp of approval on them, and we need to make sure that we have delivered all of the objectives that we set. So that means going out to other agencies, going out to other hospitals, going out to other universities, making sure that we are in sync with what is the expectation of the delivery.
And are you guys audited by any agency?
Yes. We are overseen by the Texas Board of Nursing, and of course all nurses follow the Nurse Practice Act, so that means even as a nurse educator we have to follow the Nurse Practice Act. We're governed because we are accredited, and not just the university accreditation, nursing accreditation, and you receive nursing accreditation when your program has been deemed as excellence in education.
Okay.
So that means that you have specific policies and procedures that you always have to follow to make sure that you are maintaining that standard. And so with that comes, you have to make sure that you have not only expertise in faculty, but you have faculty buy-in. You have to make sure that you have dedicated faculty. Listen, you can hire anybody to be an educator. You can hire anybody to be a nurse educator, but you have to train that nurse educator to know how to be a nurse educator, because you're hiring a nurse.
Correct.
You're really not hiring per se an educator.
Correct.
It comes with training. And
so you may have the knowledge, but if you don't know how to transmit it,
Exactly. And so one of the important things I think of my job to be effective as a program director, I consider myself a transformational leader. And so I'm always leading by a vision. And I hope that everyone sees my vision and will write the vision with me so that we can build to the bar of excellence in nursing that is no other. That's what we look for.
That is fantastic. Now, in terms of the recruiting, what does the job entail? Like, do you have to be around all the time, visiting community colleges?
Definitely. Definitely.
What that part of the job? What does it entail?
Right. So listen, there are many nursing programs out here. There's a lot of them, and nursing by nature works together, but at the end of the day, you still have competition out there. So you have to be out there. You have to sell your program. You have to let them know why our program, why come here. And so, yes, we're out there recruiting. We're out there talking to people on the street, advertising wherever we can. We have to go to community colleges to try to tell the community colleges what we offer. Building articulation agreements, which are actually transfer agreements. So yeah, there's a lot to that, and I'm responsible for making sure that happens, but I have an outstanding, wonderful faculty that stand behind me and help with that, and I think that's what makes success for the program as well.
And you have new facilities, right?
Yes, we have a brand new building, the health science building. It's state of the art. The classrooms are amazing.
It's in Pearland University.
Yes, it's in Pearland, and it is not separate from the University of Clear Lake. It is part of the University of Clear Lake. And I think it's important to mention that why this building is so important to us, we are not an online program. And I just want to say that. We are a blended program, and so that's kind of almost a rarity in the RN to BSN business.
Can you elaborate on that? Why is that?
Definitely. And that is because, contrary to popular belief, every student does not always want online. It is there, and that's what's available to them. Correct. So that's what they gravitate to. We are a blended learning program where we actually hold face-to-face classes 2 days a week. The classes never change. They're always on the same day. And we have one online class to help them navigate of what online education is, and then we have hybrid clinicals. Why is that important? Because it not only builds for effective communication with our students, it not only builds camaraderie, it builds a mentorship with our students. So they are getting to know us, we're getting to know them, they know we're available, they put a name with a face, they can sit in our office, and we are shaping lives. That's what we're doing. And by having a face-to-face program, what we're doing is we're saying that we are not only interested in your education journey, but we are interested in your personal growth and helping you grow as a person. So having that face-to-face program, having various different tracks, we have 2 types of full-time tracks, we have 2 types of part-time tracks. So the student, it's a true articulation. They come in, they don't have to do any prerequisites. They don't have to take any entrance exams. They come as they are. They are already nurses. They need a license, and they need a degree or a diploma in nursing.
So let me ask you this. So that the one of the beauties of your program is that the students who come here, can they still working if they're working?
Oh, yes. And we try to design our program so that they can, in fact, work. A lot of the hospitals nowadays, they allow nurses to self-schedule themselves. So knowing that you can come, and full-time for us is 2 semesters. 15 credit hours, 15 credit hours. If you know that you can self-schedule yourself for 2 semesters, which is less than a year, you can be finished and have your bachelor's in 2 semesters. And don't get me wrong, this is no easy program. It is rigorous. It is designed to be that way because we want our students to come out and be ready for a graduate program and ready for what the workforce is going to hand them. But at the same time, we are here to guide them and mentor them through it. So they can do part-time 15 hours. They can do, break that up into 9 hours and 9 hours, and 6 hours. They can break it up into 12, and 6. And so however it works for them, the beauty of it is they all sit in the same classroom, same cohort. And they build that camaraderie, that friendship, that hold the hand and pull the person forward.
Well, all the research shows that if the students in a cohort tend to have a better rate of success.
Exactly.
Separate.
And I will say that 99.9% of our students that enter this program finish.
That's awesome.
They finish. And if they don't, it's because something other than the academic achievement. Maybe, unfortunately, there was some sickness or some life event. And even with that, we work with that student because we've known them face to face to work with them how to get them back on track.
And if you get a student who hasn't passed the test, yeah, do you guys helping?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So we accept students as long as they have their transcript, their final transcript from their 2-year school. And I think it's important to say we accept international students as well, and that's a rarity. So we accept international students, and we don't have them pay for their whole transcript check. We do that for them because UH Clear Lake is equipped to do that. Right. So we do that. They may have to take some other electives once they get in here, but the important thing is they just need a license and a transcript. And so if the student does not have a license, they need to have a license by the first day of class. Okay. So if they've graduated from their school and they're sitting to wait to write their NCLEX test, we're still here coaching them, telling them, just concentrate on taking your test, study for what you need to, let us know as soon as you pass, and you'll be sitting in that classroom.
Wow, that's powerful. Now, what about your program and the impact that you have seen on students after they graduate? I mean, what can you tell us a little bit about that? Once you see students graduating from your program, what is the impact that you have seen in the profession or in general?
Okay. Well, in general, we are meeting that 80-20 challenge. We know that they want 80% of nurses to have a bachelor's by 2020. We have not met that. We are probably close to 60%. However, every time we take a cohort of students and walk them across that stage, we are contributing to that 2020. So that's the overall. Personally, we have helped that nurse grow to become that professional nurse. And in the process, we have built a mentorship that typically turns into a friendship. So those students come back to us. We guide them into the graduate programs. We check on them throughout the graduate programs because what we hope is that, and some do, we hope that many of them will go into the education part of nursing and come back and teach for us. And for those that move up in the clinical setting, we know that we have prepared them well enough to not only function well in the clinical area, but to manage and lead in the clinical area. Let's face it, we all are going to be in the hospital at one time in our life, whether it's overnight, whether it's for the day, whether it's for the long haul. I want to be able to look up and see that nurse's face and say, yes, I know that nurse, and I feel that I know I am in good hands with this nurse. And so that's the reward. That's what we're doing. We're putting them out there, not only in the education realm, but they're growing professionally and they're growing personally. They probably come out of this program, and we've had students tell us that they've come out a better version of their own selves personally than they did when they came in.
That is fantastic. Now, to finish, how do you envision the future of nursing programs in the upcoming years? Because as you said, we have a lot of offers, a lot of modalities coming out in terms of online or hybrid models. Right. How do you envision the future of this type of program within the next 10 years or so?
Well, I'll tell you, I will say our RN to BSN program will probably not become fully online. That is not what we want. The RN to BSN program, we look at it as a feeder program. It's a program that we started here to feed our students through other programs. What we see as a goal, having our own programs to feed them through. So yes, we are in the makings and in the workings of master programs for nursing. We are in the makings and in the process. As a matter of fact, we've just rolled out a new program this summer, which is a refresher reentry course. And that is designed for nurses who, one, have been out of nursing for a while. Their license is still valid. However, life happens. Maybe they had children. Maybe they had to move. Maybe they had to stop. Maybe they are moving here to Texas. And they just need that refresher boost to feel more confident in their skills again. So they would come to us for that refresher course. And as far as the reentry part of the course, some nurses, if they do not renew their license ongoing, their license become inactive. They don't lose the license, it just becomes inactive, so they can't work. So we want them to come to us for the same purpose so that they can go through the refresher so they can reactivate their license and then re-entry back into the workforce. So again, that turns that, Antonio, back around to we are putting nurses out there again that are needed throughout the community and outside of the community. So we have this program starting June 3rd. It is 2 courses, 5 weeks each. One is the didactic. It is again blended. It will be face-to-face and some online modules. And then we have the clinical, which will be 5 weeks. And so 10 weeks and a person is back in the workforce.
Wow.
And our tuition overall for our nursing program, because UHCL has a low tuition, that's a low tuition in and of itself. And so complementary to it, the refresher reentry course is also a very low tuition. And you can find that program on Eventbrite. Also, you can go to our UHCL page and /nursing, and it will also take you to that program that you can enroll in. So those are one of the ideas that we have ongoing, and we're just looking for other opportunities, not only on the nursing side, but also in the healthcare management degrees, and thinking about dual degrees with that too. So
That's fantastic. That's
yeah,
really
so
good point.
we're in the makings of a lot of good things. And our students, they hate to leave us. They tell us that all the time. They don't want to leave us. They want to stay with us. But we make sure that they do go on to very well-established graduate programs. But we're going to have our own soon, so we won't have to send them away.
Karen, thank you so much. That's
Thank
a really
you
good
so much.
point.
It's been a pleasure.
It's fantastic.
It's been a pleasure. And we hold information sessions throughout the year. So if any student wants to come and learn about our program, they can come. If they fill out an application on the spot, we waive the fee for the application. Fantastic. So that's another plus. And when you're a student, every dollar counts.
Absolutely.
And then twice a year we have the university open house. So we hope that we've given you the information that you need, and we hope that you come and visit us and learn more about our programs. And the biggest thing is to tell people about our program.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't know we have a nursing program, and so we want to get the word out there that we not only have a nursing program, we have an exceptional nursing program.
Well, and at the end of the interview, I want to put some pictures of the new facility
so
that
definitely.
you guys can see that. And I want to thank you one more time, Karen, for being with us today.
Definitely.
And viewers out there, remember that we have this interview and many others in Antonio Corrales' YouTube channel. Let's talk about education with Antonio Corrales, and sterlingevaluationassessment.com. Please help somebody today, and see you next time.
All right.